Hey, welcome to the Behind the Wheel podcast, where we're talking to two drivers in the Lightning Sprint division across the USA. Man, Mike, episode 3.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Excited.
We've got some good guests on for this afternoon, and I think it's going to be, it should be entertaining.
Nice. So it looks like we have, I'm Bill Mell, and you are?
Mike Schweitzer.
Mike Schweitzer. Today's guest on the episode 3 is going to be Mike Larrison. He's from the Midwest, mini sprints and association, if you will, MMSA. Yeah, mini split.
Yeah,
what does that stand for?
It's the Midwest Mini Sprint Association.
Nice. So he's gonna looks like he's gonna call in about 6. We got about we got a few minutes.
Sure.
A few minutes. Hey, so you guys just had a race last week?
Yeah.
How was it?
Well, we put a different driver in the car. It was a lot of fun. Kind of exciting getting to try to adjust for somebody that's new to us, but we did all right. You know, we put James Turnbull in there, and we qualified 8th.
Nice.
And in the heat race, we went backwards, and in the main, we started 9th, and he finished 6th. But
awesome.
It was a learning experience between his driving style and our crew, trying to dial it in for him, and now we know for the next time on what to do. You know, we got a good idea on what we need to do for him to make him a little bit more faster.
Awesome. So it was a good. I didn't make it out there. Been a busy couple weeks here.
Yeah.
So it was a good time though. Yeah.
Yeah, it was hot, man. It was like 90. It was right at 100.
It was hotter than hell this last weekend.
Oh
here
man, it
in
was
Bakersfield.
hot. Yeah. I'm not looking forward to those.
Awesome. So I'm, I am season. How's our season doing, Mike?
Well, they're like at they're going to be going into race number 9. We've only made 4 of the CLS races and 1 BCRA race. We're going to try to venture out a little bit more on some stuff. Kind of.
And how many races we have in this season?
Oh man, I'd have to look and see anymore. I can't. I think there's like 18 or so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's still quite a few.
Gotcha. So
there may be more than that. There may be close to 20.
And when does the season end?
So the season will actually end the middle of November here at Bakersfield.
Uh-huh.
And then after that, there's a 3-day race at Placerville Speedway, and it's with the USAC midgets. So it's a non-points race for the California Lightning Sprint. So
nice.
I'm already talking to AJ about we're going to run up there and try to do that this year. We didn't do it last year. I wish we would have, but
right.
He went up there in one of the cars from Brent Sexton, and he did pretty good. I think he was second all 3 nights.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You know, every time, Mike, because I'm still newer to this stuff, but every time you say midgets, and I know you're referring to the cars, I always, my first thing my head does, the 7-year-old in my brain says that we need to go to, I imagine 3 little people running across the field in a potato sack race.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, so here on the phone, we got Mike Larrison. Mike, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Awesome. Hey, Mike, I'm Bill Mell, and this is...
Yeah, Mike Schweitzer. I've spoke to you on the phone a couple times.
Yeah.
Awesome. We got you here tonight. Tonight for you, it sounds like behind the wheel. We are, we're talking to drivers in the Lightning Mini Sprint division across the USA. Super stoked to have you call in tonight, if we will. And man, we got some great questions for you. Just want to get the word out about the mini sprints.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm kind of new to it, but I'm pretty excited about the series. We're pulling a bunch of cars out here, so
yeah,
pretty neat.
Hey, Mike, where are you from?
So I live in Avon, Indiana. It's just west of Indianapolis here. I was born and raised here, and actually built a house right next door to where I grew up at. So
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's something.
Wow. How's the weather back there this time of year?
Oh, well, usually it's pretty nice, but it's been hasn't been a good year for racing. I'll tell you that. There's been a
Oh,
lot of rain out here.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's something we don't see too much of here in California this season yet.
Yeah.
no. Hey, Mike, how old are you?
So I'm 40 years old.
Okay, that's still a young man.
Yeah, I've been around the racing for a while though.
Right, right. So, what do you do for a living back there in Indiana?
So actually, I'm a welder fabricator. I used to be for my dad, but he just retired in the last year. So I have taken the business over. It's called Precision Cryogenic Systems. We make cryogenic equipment for all your big universities, observatories worldwide.
Wow.
Wow. So cryogenics, so like freezing.
Yeah, usually everybody says freezing people, but we don't freeze people. We just build the stuff to freeze people.
Gotcha. So they have we have a place here in town that goes in. You can go in, walk in there, and it's kind of like it doesn't freeze you, but you go into like a little cold room.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be good for you, something like that. Yeah.
They have that here?
Well, now our stuff's more like liquid nitrogen, liquid helium temperatures. So you're 300 and 400 degrees below zero.
Oh,
I don't think you want to be walking into that.
like some Sylvester Stallone stuff from what was the movie where they froze him? Yes.
Yeah, wow. That's something.
Terminator.
Was it Terminator?
Yeah, when they froze him and then they shot him and he shattered.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So with that, man, the fabricating, that probably comes in pretty handy with that lightning sprint every now and again.
Yeah, there's not too much I can't fix on it.
Yeah, so just kind of going back there to what you were saying a minute ago. So what age did you get into driving, and what class did you start out in driving?
So actually, I started in motocross. I was 5 years old when I got my first PW50, and I ran motocross till I was about 12 years old.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I wanted to try four wheels, so I got into go-kart racing, and then that was I have to say I'm a lot better on four wheels than I am two.
Me too.
So I know talking to you, we kind of talked just briefly, and it sounds like you've got a pretty extensive background in pavement racing. Why don't you share some of that with us?
Yeah, I guess I was one of the fortunate ones. I mean, I always tell people there's more talent than there is opportunities for big motorsports racing, and I was one of the lucky ones that got a shot at it. So like 2009, 2009, my dad and I. So I grew up right here, just west side of Indianapolis. So 15 minutes away from Indianapolis Motor Speedway and about 10 minutes away from back in the day of Thursday Night Thunder with IRP with Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart and all those guys over there. And so that was always my dream. So my dad and I kind of went off on a spurt and went in halves on a USAC midget pavement car. And it was just the right timing, I guess. And I landed some, we did some good just regional racing, and I landed some big sponsors and got some backing through Beast Chassis, Bob East, and it really exploded from there. I ran first year I just ran regional stuff, and then I got the opportunity to drive for Beast Chassis for Bob East and the family, and I ran their national midget, their national pavement sprint car, their wing pavement sprint car, and I got to drive for Jason Leffler before he passed away. I drove his Silver Crown car.
Wow.
Man, that's something.
That is.
Then I signed a deal with Davey Hamilton, the old IndyCar driver, and pretty well did the same thing for him. Drove all his midget sprint cars, wing cars, and I got an opportunity to sit down with Andretti Autosports and signed a deal with them to run some of their Indy Light stuff on the ovals. And it almost fell apart at that point. I got in a real bad wreck at Kentucky Speedway, and I was in a trauma unit after hitting the wall at 200 miles an hour head on.
Holy
and
smokes.
shattered my left heel, and I've got 14 screws and pins in that. And I
Wow.
just had a kid about a year before that. So I ran one more year in Indy Lights. I ran at Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the Freedom 100. I ran the Milwaukee Mile. I ran Iowa and Fontana in Indy Lights. And then I decided I wanted to be a dad. So the wreck in Kentucky really it spooked me. I'm not gonna lie about that. And,
Yeah, that was like the same accident that, took Earnhardt Jr. out, right?
Senior.
Senior.
Yeah, he
Senior,
hit the
yeah.
wall.
Senior.
He hit the wall too hard. Yeah.
Wow.
yeah, I was messed up. I was in a hospital bed in my own house for 6 weeks. So
Yeah.
I was, my little girl was a year old, and that was tough. So I said, you know what, I gave it up. I wanted to be a dad, so I actually got into coaching travel softball for my daughter. So
Wow.
I did that, and now she's at the age where, I don't know, I guess she's too cool to hang out with her dad. So
Nice. Nice.
so
yeah.
I decided I was going to go back racing again. So here I am.
Yeah, that's a big difference from, motorcycles to Indy Lights. That's a huge difference. And I've got a little history with Indianapolis. My dad had been back there a couple years, and I didn't get to go back with him for the whole month of May, but I sure regretted that, not being able to have that opportunity to do that. My mom says, "You're not missing school." So I didn't get to do that, but I've been out there a couple times. I went to the 06 500, and then my wife and we went back there and went through the museum and all that just a few years ago. But man, what an awesome facility that is.
Yeah, it's a special place. I mean, that's what I always tell everybody. After that, if all went away, I lived my dream. I mean, that was my dream of growing up as a kid, is to go down that front straightaway at over 200 miles an hour. That was something.
Wow. That is quite a story, but that's an awesome story to be told too, Mike, that you got to do that, and then you got to be a dad.
Yeah.
Man, this day and age, it seems like we are missing out. This country, this world, this is missing out on dads.
Yeah.
And good dads, good parents. You know what I mean? It's
yeah. Well, and that was kind of my thing. I mean, I wanted my kid to have a dad, and she did. She still does. She just, she's at that age where friends and other stuff are more important. So I guess dad gets to go out and have some fun again.
Right. Good stuff. So what is she, a teenager now at this point, or?
Yeah, she's 12, so she's right there.
Oh yeah, I remember the 12s. I got two, 20 that are 22 and 27, and you know it all. You're the champ. Then you know nothing.
Yep.
Hang in there. You get to know some more.
Yeah.
As they get a little older.
Yeah, it does get a little better.
You regain the eye of the tiger.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh wow, so that's some story, Mike. How long? So how long you been driving on the Lightning Sprint?
This is actually my first year.
No kidding.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Year one. And how do you like the racing, the dirt racing versus the pavement racing?
Well, so the only other dirt experience I ever had, because even in my go-kart days, everything was always pavement. And I got the opportunity. I mean, if you guys are in the open wheel dirt stuff, I'm sure you know Zach Dahm.
Oh, yeah.
Heard of. So he gave me the opportunity. I went and ran the Chili Bowl in one of his cars. And I tell you what, I mean, I got to run, I went and ran the DeCoin indoor race in DeCoin, Illinois. And then we went and ran the Chili Bowl. And I told my wife after that, I'm like, I missed out. Like I just loved it. Like I wouldn't say against, I was against dirt. I was just never thought I'd be interested in it just because I ran pavement all my life.
Right.
And the karting stuff. And man, I tell you, I loved it. Like I fell in love with it. But then that was all in the same year where I was like, you know what, it's time to be dad. So I didn't do it anymore. And but I tell you what, man, I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't got the race very much this year. We should have 10 races in so far, and we got 3.
Oh wow.
So, and I didn't get to run one of them, but I'll tell you what, in the 2 races and the couple open practices I ran, I mean, the car it's an absolute blast. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of born into the dirt midget world. My grandpa was a longtime car owner. My dad was a wrench on it, and for many years, and they ended up. He had some health issues and some strokes, and they ended up selling everything. I think somewhere around 76 or something like that. They got into it in like the early 50s.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So yeah, it was pretty good. It was a pretty good childhood growing up around there. So, what number is your car that you run back there?
So it's number 06.
Okay. Why'd you go with the 06? What's up with that?
So when I started in motocross, I was 06 and my dad was 07.
Oh, okay.
And I ran that number for my entire life.
Wow.
And it's kind of funny. My daughter's softball number is 06.
Oh.
And she picked that because of her dad. So.
Wow.
So what chassis and what motor are you running in that thing?
So I bought kind of a long story. I mean, this was all a kind of a fly by night when I even decided to do this. I never really got into the micros or the mini sprints, and a friend of mine that actually works for me now, has worked for me for a while. He's like, "Oh, Mike, we need to go get some micros or some mini sprints or something." And well, that kind of got it all fired up, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go down and watch these things. And went down to Bloomington Speedway and watched them and talked to a guy, and he had his car for sale. He actually won the MMSA championship last year around here, and Brandon Coffey. And I wanted to buy his car, and it's a Hoosier Speed, and he's kind of already committed a guy to buy it off of him. And so he took me on board with him. Really, I can't thank that guy enough. I mean, and he helped me find which is really, a Hoosier Speed's really a kind of a triple X chassis, midget chassis. And then Andy Bradley does some stuff to them to change them over to the mini sprint stuff. And so I went and found me a triple X chassis in Missouri and drove over there and picked it up. And Andy Bradley helped me convert it over to a Hoosier Speed car. And I bought Brandon Coffey's backup motor from him last year, and it's a Honda.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
I
I'll
know.
tell you what, I would put money on it. I'd probably have one of the fastest cars in the series here in the Midwest. I mean, that thing it's a rocket ship.
Yeah, I've raced with Andy Bradley before. He come out here and he was in a car owned by Bobby McNovich, and he laid the wood to us out here in that car. Yeah, so all my stuff was I had 2 cars back then, but my stuff's the older Hingecraft with the ZX12 in it. So
Okay, yeah.
Wow. So Mike, a little bit about me. I'm actually a real estate broker here in California, in Bakersfield, and me and Mike Schweitzer used to work for the same oil field company, and so I've went out with Wink, his brother, first day on the rig, and have known the Schweitzers through the company for a lot of years.
Yeah.
Being an old rig hand. And so Mike had hit me up, what did we say, Mike, 3 or 4 years ago?
Oh, it's been, well, this is year number 5 getting back into it. So, man, I think it's probably been at least 4, maybe a little over 4.
Well, he hit me up to be to sponsor his car. And I'm like,
Yeah.
It's not really, I don't know about it. I mean, I didn't know, how it, what it was. I go, well, is it, the things, the fins, what is it, like an old smash up derby car? I mean, I'm clueless. You know what I mean? I'm asking all the essential questions, and he goes, no, it's and I think at the time it was a little midget, right?
No, it was a Lightning Sprint.
Oh, Lightning Sprint.
Yeah, it was a Lightning Sprint.
And so I am like, wow. And so, I've been sponsoring the car. the best I could over, the past few years. And then, man, the COVID hit, and I'm like, wow. And, they gave us, not everybody, but they gave, a bunch of people, some money for being, I don't know, for being Americans or whatever you want to call it. So
Yeah.
I used my my Trump check, and I bought some. I said, you know what, I'm going to start a podcast studio and start a podcast with my son. And it took off a little bit as far as, like we did about 8 episodes and then never kind of really went live with it. And then we were talking one day, me and Mike, and talking about podcasts, right?
Yeah,
Mike?
yeah, about you and Darby doing the podcast, and he's kind of moved on with his life a little bit. Just getting married and the police academy, and
And so, Mike came up with the idea of, well, I could, do it. We could do a, podcast. I'm like, well, okay. So, I'm learning as we go here, kind of what's what. I still kind of, like, before you came on the phone, I was kind of talking about, every time somebody says, we're running midgets, I'm like, what? Poor little folks, what are you doing, And just, it's the 7-year-old in me that's, like, what do you mean you're running midgets,
Yeah.
So, so that's kind of like, a little history about me. So if I don't, don't answer, I'm still learning. I'm still learning in this.
Yeah.
So, I in my life, my father passed away some time ago, and I see a huge importance in fathers and kids' lives, whether it be, a daughter or a son, fathers. So they both need both parents ideally, has been my experience. But, fathers, I've gone out of my way to be, try to be the best father I could be with no training experience. But, what I figured out in this life so far is that, man, they don't give you a manual at the hospital tells you how to be the best you can be. You just do it.
No.
Right? So
yeah, you kind of fly by wire,
Fly by wire, yes. They just crapped. What do I do? Wipe it up. What do you mean, what do you do? There's a water leak, you seal the pipe. If there's,
Right.
fire, run out of the house and turn on the hose, or wait for the call of the fire department. You just do what you got to do, So with that being said, like, who's been your biggest influence in racing?
Well, I mean, obviously I would say my dad, I always say it's crazy for people to think, they're like, how do you work with your parent, with your dad? And, but my dad growing up, man, he was my best friend. I mean, that's what we did. We went racing every weekend. And, then, like I said, I graduated high school, and I mean, I was working at the shop, not legally under the table, probably 12 years old, grew up being my boss and my biggest fan, like I said. So, I mean, it's obvious my dad.
Yeah. Nice.
He's older now. He doesn't get around as much, but he tries to still come out and watch. But I pretty well work on it all on my own and do all that stuff. But like I said, I built a house right next door to him, so I mean, he's just across the driveway.
That is awesome.
There you go.
Good stuff. Hey, so you said we're in year 1 in the sprints here, mini sprints. What are your future plans going forward?
Well, honestly, I want to race some more. I mean, because it hasn't been the best year to call it my first year, because like we're halfway through the season and I got 2 races.
Yeah.
But I have to say, man, they've been really good races. I mean, we've been, Kevin that owns the series, I mean, he does a phenomenal job. I mean, we're pulling 35, I would say average 35 cars a race.
Oh, wow.
And I went out my first race, and I don't know, I would probably say I probably shocked the series a little bit. I mean, because they still have to consider me as a rookie, which is fine, whatever. And I mean, first time in hot laps, I went out and qualified 3rd out of 36 cars.
Wow.
So and then we started 12th in the feature, and we got up to 6th. So it wasn't a bad first night, and pretty well did the same on the second night. So I want to put a couple more years in the Lightning sprints. I love the cars, doing some, my history with the midget stuff and stuff. I mean, what I love about the Lightning sprints is, the sealed motors, and, they still have quite a bit of horsepower, but they're not like a full blown 400 horsepower midget, so they're very racy, like, the field's very tight. And, I don't like to go, I mean, I'm not much of a fan of racing. Like, I like to be in the car instead of watching.
Right.
But as a fan, you want to go see some close, exciting racing. And, and midgets, USAC midgets usually put on a pretty good show, but I'm telling you, these Lightning sprints, man, I mean, you're bumper to bumper the whole race.
Wow.
Yeah, the Lightning sprint racing, I think, is the best bang for the buck. It's
oh, absolutely.
It is exciting. I've been to a few races in my 4 years, if you will, and it's yes, the little cars jamming across there. And Mike, has your daughter? I mean, you talked about your daughter not being, you're not the cool guy today, but has your daughter had any inkling that she might want to jump in that car at a later time?
No,
really.
She just no. Her biggest kick is she gets to ride my little pit 4-wheeler around.
Okay.
Yeah.
She just, I don't know. I kind of knew she wouldn't be.
Right.
I wish she was, but she's not, and that's okay. I wouldn't, I'm not going to force her to do anything, whatever she wants to do. And
so what I'm hearing you say is there might be a chance in the future.
If she wants to do it,
right,
there's a car out there.
Awesome. Oh boy. Yeah, I had my daughter. She got in there. We ran the micros, and man, she kind of scared me. She ran that thing. My brother was there with us, and he told her if you go in the turn and it doesn't want to turn, just keep moving up the track. And man, by the end of the race, she was running that right rear. It was busting the bolts off the bead lock, and I was like, oh, here she comes. And she'd throw that thing in the corner, and I mean, it's a little small track, but man, it was scary for me being a dad. I kind of covered my eyes, but then opening up between my fingers. I thought, whew, man, she made it. And then her first race out, she finished second, and I picked her up with the quad, and I could hear her hollering at me, we need more power. And I thought, oh boy. So
Yeah.
So starting out with the Lightning sprints, you just been into it just a brief time. If you could go back, what's some of the best advice that you could give someone to starting out in the Lightning sprint, something that you wish you would have known getting into it? Is there something that somebody gave you some advice that you'd like to pass on, or somebody that gave you?
I mean, I guess my biggest thing always with anybody that wants to get into racing is you got to go out and watch it. You got to go around, you got to get in the pits and you talk to people, and you got to talk to multiple people. Not everybody's going to give you the best advice. I mean, it's just, look around, shop around. Like I said, I was very fortunate. I ran into a couple guys, Brandon Coffey, and then, with him, I got hooked in with Andy, and there are a lot of good people in racing that will be more than happy to help you. It's like, Brandon Coffey, I mean, he sold his car, but he's running another Hoosier Speed car for another guy. And, I mean, he still shares all his setups with me, and we're running for the same trophy or the same paycheck, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And, so, I guess you got to shop around and you got to talk to people.
Yeah.
Don't go buy the first thing you see.
Yeah, we've got one of those Hoosier Speed cars out here in our club with the California Lightning Sprints. Ken Colston's got one of them out here, and man, it's been pretty quick. It's a pretty fast car. I mean, it's a beautiful car. I haven't really had a chance to really go over and get real close to it, but from what I can see, it's a well-built piece. So
yeah.
With that, some of the tracks you guys run on back there, what is there a variety of tracks? Are you guys run kind of a more of a bank track, or is it kind of flat or heavy, dry, slick? What do you guys see back there?
Well, I mean, that was another thing that really interested me in this whole MMSA deal is it's really a pretty good traveling series around, especially around here in Indiana. I mean, we run all the same tracks the 410 sprint cars run around here. I mean, we run, Putnamville, which is kind of a mediocre bank track, a little rough, dries out pretty quick, gets pretty black slick. We run down a tri-state, which is more of a paper clip. Stays pretty wet, pretty greasy track. Then we run Bloomington, which is all red clay, so it's got a lot of grip. And we run over Wayne County, which I haven't been over there yet. It's more of it's a smaller track. Brownstown is a pretty high banked track. So you get a pretty good variety in the series. So, yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
That's good stuff.
Yep.
Hey, Mike, part of this is kind of give and take. So is there any questions you think you might want to ask us?
Well, I guess that my first question, what's the gas prices out there like?
Oh, you don't want to know.
So
yeah.
we're probably pushing 6 right now, aren't we?
Oh man, I think we're already at 6. I think I've seen some gas stations are already there.
They're talking about 7 and 8, and I think down in Los Angeles, down in the high rent district, if you will.
Yeah.
Crazy,
man. Yeah, we're at $5 a gallon here, and we're about to die.
Yeah, this is insane.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I mean, with the whole lightning sprint deal and the series out here, I mean, I don't know if it's really affected you guys out there, but like I said, I mean, we're still pulling 35. Between 35 and 40 cars, and we've been struggling to get tires, so that's been keeping a few guys away, And but even with the economy the way it is, I mean, to pull that kind of car count, I mean,
that is a good.
That's a lot of cars.
USAC struggled to pull cars like that.
Yeah.
What did you guys, Mike? They just had a race last week. How many you think you had there, Mike?
Oh man, I'm embarrassed to say this, but we had 12. The thing is with California is we've got 3 clubs, and we need to get our act together, all of us. It's just sometimes we have 2 clubs running on the same Saturday night, and it makes it tough, We just need to work together and kind of come up with some common ground or something somewhere along the way. I don't know what the answer is for that, but we used to have car counts when we used to run like Paris Speedway. We'd have 30, 35 cars and stuff like that. But man, anymore, it's if you get 17 cars, you've got a good field, unless you have. Like at the beginning of the year, we ran with the World of Outlaws, and we had a pretty good car count for that. We had a lot of cars from all 3 clubs, but we've went up and ran with the Northern guys, and we've got a good relationship with everybody. It's just we need to all come together and get our car counts back up for sure. And we've got a lot of guys that are sitting out right now, because of the economy too,
See, I ran a brief stint of like cross country racing with the side by side, and that was kind of the same deal with them. As they had 3 series here in the Midwest, and it was like they were fighting each other for a car count, and it's like you got to get together on this, and you're going to kill all 3 of them.
Yeah,
and it's pretty well what happened. They killed each other just by fighting over race dates and trying to schedule over top of each other, and that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Hey, so Mike, you said 3 races. I know you said you'd only been in 3 races, but I mean, you've probably been to quite a few bit more races than that. You got a favorite track?
For the Lightning Sprint, or just a favorite track overall?
Give us both.
Both, yeah.
Well, I'd have to say my favorite track overall would be the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I mean, but for the Lightning Sprint, so far, I would have to say Brownstown Speedway. I mean, I ran good there. The track, I mean, some tracks get a little rough. I'd have to say it stayed pretty smooth. It slicked off and kind of went to the top groove track, but it was still pretty racy. So I'd have to say Brownstown so far.
Nice.
Okay. So we're going to kind of keep things moving along here, and we're going to move on to, the question. I like hearing this, being able to ask some of these drivers. So we all have that one race that we're always going to remember. So what's that for you? Which race is that?
It could be all of them, any of them.
Well, I mean, for me in Indy, it's going to be the Freedom 100 over at Indianapolis. But I will have to say, when it comes to open wheel, I will always tell everybody this: if you ever get an opportunity to sit your butt down in a midget and go run the Chili Bowl, that is the most amazing event in the world. For a grassroots racer, I would say that's like a dream. I mean, just all the people and, they got 400 cars under one roof. I mean, it's just, even to go watch it, it's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, we took a car back there, me and my brother. We took a car back there in 2 years. It was, I think, 09 and 10. And I've told this story on one of the earlier podcasts, but I was off a little bit. So, we were starting on the pole, and it was Brad Sweet in one of Casey Kane's cars, and we got him going into one. But, man, coming off of two, Sweet was riding a wheelie going by us on two wheels, and I thought, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, that place that's a race right there, man. That's a race and a party,
Yes. Well, that's what I always tell everybody. I mean, if it's your prelim night, you're working your tail off, and, the people next to you got a couch out next to their trailer drinking moonshine. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just, you don't get no better than that.
Yeah.
That's some good stuff there.
Oh, man, there's a lot of antics that go on back there for sure.
Yeah.
There sure is.
Hey, Mike, we're approaching the end of our call, if you will, here, and before we go, we like to always kind of ask our drivers here: is there any sponsors or someone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I did. I've had a few people, that have supported me over the years, and they've come back. I mean, Detro Trailers is a big one. They're a family friend of mine. I mean, they're almost like family to me. And when I told them I was going to go, I wanted to get back into racing. They helped me out getting a trailer to haul my car with, and they're just an awesome family. Probably one of the biggest trailer dealers here in the Midwest. I mean, they have a huge inventory.
Who is that again?
Detro Trailers.
Detro Trailers, awesome.
And then Schaefer's Oil came on board with me this year, and that was kind of a fly-in weird deal that had happened, and it fell together. And I can't thank those guys enough. And Chris McDaniels, which is a rep out here, he's been a huge help. He's kind of new to motorsports, but he's getting his name out there, and I'm helping him. And he's actually getting a lot of the racers hooked up with this Schaefer's Oil and all their amazing products. So I got to thank them and my little team, American Dream Racing. I've carried that name since my dad started it years ago. Obviously Andy Bradley with Hoosier Speed. I mean, I tell you what, I mean, I've gone out looking like I know what I'm doing. And if it wasn't for Andy and Brandon Coffey, I mean, I'm on the phone with them. If they're not at the track, I'm on the phone with them at the track, trying to get, as the track's changing, because I really don't have a clue what I'm doing yet. And, trying to do this all on my own. And man, like I said, hands down, I'd put money on. I got one of the fastest cars in the series, and they helped me. They helped me a lot get that. So I got to thank them.
Awesome.
Nice.
And obviously, I got to thank my wife.
Oh,
I spent a lot of time out in the garage.
How long have you been married, Mike?
So we've been married. Oh no, she might kill me for this one. I think 6 years. We've been together for 11.
Nice.
So, but yeah, she has supported me all through. I mean, when we were just dating, she traveled all over the country with me, and so I can't thank her enough. Obviously.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we good wife definitely makes things happen for us at home.
Makes it a lot easier.
Oh, you ain't a kidding.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, I just wanted to thank you for taking the time to call in. We're at the end here. We're ready to kind of tie this up here. I just want to wish you, good luck this year, and man, we'll be sending good mojo for maybe that rain just to let up just a little bit. Maybe send it our way if you would.
Yeah, you guys could use it and we could get rid of it, so that'd work out great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
You bet.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
All right.
Bye.
Wow, Mike, that was a crazy call. I mean, that was that guy's been, he's seen a lot of things that people dream of, and been a part of. Then Indianapolis Speedway is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty amazing facility.
Right. Yeah. So we are. Wow, that was amazing. So 1 year in, if you will, man. So we're as this thing goes, it may progress longer. I mean, we talked about, we've been, the last two have been, hour long. We may be, going longer and stronger, and so we're doing good. We got another caller tonight coming in, Derek Holmwood. I don't know anything about Derek, actually. So I'm excited to learn about what he is, where he's from, and kind of what he's bringing to racing, if you will.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about Derek. So he's going to be our second caller this evening. He's going to be number 6, the 6th driver on our episode of Behind the Wheel
podcast.
So podcast. He's going to be calling in here shortly. And for those of you who know him, he doesn't need much of an introduction. His driving is always top of the field. He's the driver from the Great Pacific Northwest, driver of the number 17. And, man, he belongs to a very, very fast group of drivers known to most of us here in California as the Washington Boys. So he should be calling in here shortly, and we'll get going with him. But, man, them boys up there, them boys and now girls, women, man, they are fast up there, They got them cars dialed in, and they're a pretty tight-knit group up there, and every one of them are just as equally as fast as the other, I mean, there's no one driver to watch out for with those boys. I mean, they're all, and girls, they're all equally fast. They got that car dialed in.
Wow. So Mike, remember our last caller just talked about, you've been in 3 races in this first year in this mini sprint class, if you will, because of rain. It's been a wet season for him back there. And the best that I recall, Washington and those northern states, if you will, they get a lot of rain up there as well too, right?
Oh man, yeah, they've had some too.
Yeah, so
for sure.
If he runs into the same kind of stuff, if you will, that is interesting.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're sitting here baking in Bakersfield, wishing there was some rain to just bring us a little bit of humidity, if you will.
Oh man, it's been hot. It's been miserably hot, And then over the weekend it was hot, and then the wind came in, and
it felt good though on Saturday. I think it was
Saturday. No way.
Saturday?
It had to be Sunday.
Sunday. Okay,
yeah,
Sunday.
Saturday was a scorcher.
Sunday had that
man.
good breeze. It felt like it was like 74. It was it was different.
Yeah.
Different, if you will. Different than what we're expecting, in June. June, if you will.
Yeah, it's the next 3 races for the Lightning Sprints, they are heading to Ventura. So
oh, that would be good.
Yeah, it's going to be nice over there. So it'll be, beach weather and foggy and cool, and probably wearing a sweatshirt, and it'll be a lot better than here in town, anyways, or Merced, or it still gets hot up there also.
Yeah, I was so Ventura. Is Ventura about the coolest track you would say as far as weather goes? Ventura, maybe Santa Maria. Santa Maria's no more, you said, right?
Well, so there's talk that they're working on some stuff to bring that track. They've been running the go-karts on it and the wing carts, and I've heard that they're talking about firing that thing back up again here in the near future. So we'll wait and see what happens there. But Ventura is probably the best track for as far as weather for us. It's kind of cloudy, foggy, overcast, and maybe a little drizzle. It's
the good times.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Good times. I always look forward to an opportunity to be chilly, if you will, in a tank top, because I'm hot-blooded.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All the time. We're waiting for Derek here to call. I wonder if he's tied up on something, if you will.
Yeah, he should be calling in there anytime, so we'll just kind of go back and maybe rehash talking to Mike. I mean, man, that was quite the call. Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That's a heck of a track. We went around it on the tour and stuff like that. But the museum is really neat. With all the cars in there and that they have.
Yeah. You know what, Mike? We haven't done this before, but maybe we'll try to call him.
Okay.
Right? So I'll hit him.
Try him.
See what we come up with.
Okay.
There it is. It's ringing. That's good.
This is Derek.
Hey, Derek. This is Bill Mel with Behind the Wheel
Hey,
podcast.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing real good.
Awesome. I'm on the line here with Mike Schweitzer as well. And so we are, again, with the Behind the Wheel podcast, and we're just talking to drivers all around the U.S., across the U.S., in the Lightning Mini Sprint division.
Yeah?
Yeah, you came up across our radar, and so Mike probably would know more into.
Yeah, I kind of gave you a little intro there before you called, or before we gave you a call, that that you're up there in the Pacific Northwest, and you run with a pretty elite group of very, very fast cars. And you probably know this, but we all we kind of relate to you guys as the Washington boys. Whenever we're talking about you fast guys up there, there's never any time that's all them cars are fast, equally as fast. Anybody can win up there. Your guys' drivers, there's a pretty tight knit group of very, very fast Lightning Sprint drivers for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely a good way of describing them.
Yeah. So
we got you. Again, we already know you're from Washington. Whereabouts in Washington are you from?
Currently I'm from Custer, Washington, but Ferndale mainly. That's where I grew up. Nice.
And how's the weather up there?
Currently raining. It does it a lot around here.
Yeah, that was.
But
we were talking about that for you before we called you here. That weather. So our last caller was from back in Indiana, and this is his first year in the Lightning Sprint division, and he is been to 3 races. back there in Indiana, and rain has been his the culprit to kind of keep him out of the race.
Yeah, I think he said they were on like race number 10, and they've only ran 3 or something like that. They've had a lot of rainouts back there for sure. So.
Oh yeah, no, it's I follow all the flow racing and all that stuff, and so I'm pretty privy to all the rainouts they've been having.
Yeah.
Nice. Hey, Derek, so how old are you?
I am 32 years old.
32, young.
Oh yeah. He's gonna be a thorn in everybody's side for a long time. In lightning sprint racing for sure.
Nice. So you kind of gave up what you did for a living, but go ahead and throw it at us again. So are you the boss there? Or?
Yeah, I own the company. We started about a year and a half ago as Apex Upfitters, doing like trucks and trailers and vans, just outfits, modifications, repairs. And due to COVID, with all the problems getting parts, pieces, whatever, we were constantly coming up short on electrical, plumbing, whatever. We just said, you know what, I got all the equipment for, I got a press brake, I got a shear, I got, all the equipment to be able to do just fabrication work. I thought, well, might as well do what's available around here. And so we do, we supplement construction projects with, platforms, staircases, stuff like that. We'll also do parts runs, manufacturing for equipment. We actually manufacture parts for Ortec, which is a rolling machine, and we do all their aluminum fabrication and stuff.
Nice. So one thing I was wanting to ask you is, so when you started racing, how old were you when you first got behind the wheel, and what class was that you were running?
So I would have been about 10 to 11 years old, and the first car I ever drove was a junior sprint, and that was all due to Cal Hertzen. There wasn't even a junior sprint class around this area, and so he had actually gone down to California, and as a bit of an investment, he had gone down and bought about 7 or 8 junior sprints and brought them up here to sell to the core midget guys. And it just so happened that we were able to acquire one of those junior sprints from him with a lot of his help, and that was the first car I ever drove.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that. I know you've been racing for a long time, but I wanted to ask you that so kind of share that information with everybody.
Yeah. So lucky number 17 you are, huh, Derek?
Yeah.
Nice.
I would say so. We've been 17 my whole life.
17 your whole life. Tell me about 17. What's the importance of 17?
Honestly, it was the first number on the junior sprint when we bought it, and I don't think we had enough money to even change the number, so that's just how it stuck.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Some humble moments. 17, there it is. Lucky 17. Hey,
yep. That's what was on the car.
Nice. Hey, what chassis and motor package you running on that car?
Currently or back then?
No, right now.
Right now we're running the DLX is what we call it, but it's just a triple X chassis, which is kind of a long story in itself of how that even got going.
Yeah. So
then we run ZX10R engine, 2019 actually, the Red Hat engine.
Hey, I was wondering, just kind of between me and you, could go ahead and pull the hood off of that thing and send me a couple pictures of what you got under there so I know what to buy next time? So I can keep up with you guys.
Yeah, that's no problem at all. We got nothing to hide. The engine builder we use.
No,
those motors we buy, they come in, and so when they hit his shop, we have them within 24 hours. He slaps an oil pan on them. He does his tune that he's got on his injection, and they're right at our doorstep. And everything we run is available to everybody else.
Oh, I know that. I was just kidding with you. In fact, I got one of the ZX12s from you guys, and actually that motor is sitting in the car right now, and we had Yoshimura freshen that thing up, and we won 3 of the first 4. We won 2 CLS races, and then we went up to BCRA and won 1 up there. So AJ.
Yeah, it was hard giving up those 1200s. Those were really strong engines when we had them.
Yeah. Oh, I love them. I've got a fleet of them. I'm going to run them till the end. So,
well, good. Somebody needs to.
yeah. So with the lightning sprints, how long you been wheeling one of them lightning sprints?
Since the age of 14, that was the youngest you could be and still drive up here in Washington, and so that's when I hopped in one for the first time, and that's pretty much what I've raced ever since. I mean, we've stepped out and done midgets and sprint cars and everything else, but lightning sprint racing has always been just home to me.
So with the lightning sprint, the midget, and the sprint car, what do you like the best?
Honestly, the lightning sprint. Just cost versus fun versus everything else, drivability. You get into sprint cars, and when you have to start thinking about cost, it changes the way you drive, and when it changes the way you drive, it becomes not as fun. Same thing with midget racing. You got to think about the cost, you got to think about the engine, you got to think about everything. And with lightning sprint racing, it's just affordable enough to where we don't have to worry about those things. I mean, there's always in the back of your mind, yeah, it's going to cost you something, but you tip one over and you're not out $10,000. You're out maybe maybe $2,000 at worst if you take the shocks and wings and everything out of it.
Yeah.
And so just to be able to race and enjoy it and be around friends and not have to think about the cost, that's what I enjoy.
Good stuff.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I think the lightning sprints are like we was talking with our previous callers. I think it's the best bang for the buck. Really. I mean, it's
by far.
Very competitive class and affordable for the blue collar racer. I mean, you can get into it relatively pretty cheap. So
well, and the reason why I like the lightning sprint so much is because up here we kind of jokingly call it the semi-professional class. I mean, just about anybody that runs a 1200 at some point has at least had the ability or the attempt to start a career in racing, whether it be sprint cars, midgets, anything. And so when you get in a lightning sprint, you're not racing kids. You're not racing, people that don't, either have respect for equipment or people that maybe have a little too much money into it. And you're racing people that really are, high caliber drivers.
Right.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. That is more and more. I feel like I want to get behind the wheel sometimes, Mike.
We'll find you a car to do that with. We'll find somebody that's got one. I don't know about that.
Right. Well, not quite yet. It's just green go, red stop, right? Yellow slow down.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a little bit more to it than that. Let's wait on that one.
Nice. Hey, Dirk. So part of this is give and take podcast, if you will. So we open it up too as well. If you had any questions for us down here in beautiful Bakersfield, California, feel free to ask. We're an open book as well.
Yep.
Well, I really just want to know what it's like to race where there's not any rain. That would be my biggest question.
Well, we have it. Come on to California. Us down here, man. It's dry, slick, and dusty. It's not been a very wet year down here for us at all. I mean, we're struggling. We're already going to be under water restrictions already, and I mean, it's going to be another tough summer here for sure, man. That's for sure.
Yeah,
might have to take one of those extended weekends.
I
know with the water restrictions down there, it's got to be horrible just keeping the upkeep on facilities.
Yeah. So I think I know the answer to this question, but just for everybody that's going to be listening, and like I told you, we're doing these pre-recorded, so we'll start kicking them out. But who's been the biggest influence in your racing career, and why is that?
I'd have to say Brock Lemley, to be honest with you, and I think 90% of it is just because of how close he is with our family. What he's been able to do behind the wheel of a race car. I grew up around him. He's taught me, as much as anybody about racing and how to be successful. And, I've always, I grew up looking up to him as, a fan, and then he kind of grew into almost like a brother type role to me where, he's able to, help me through either whether it's, personal or, racing advice. He always seems to be there. So, he's certainly one of those people that I look up to and I try to model myself after.
Right. Yeah, Brock, man, he's always been a fast son of a gun too, man, always. He's always.
Oh yeah, well that's always that's always been true. He's been able to go out in the sprint cars and win races. He's gone out in midgets and been successful. So I mean, to be able to have somebody like that so close to you is certainly helped me in my career.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Nice. So, man, future plans. What are your future plans up there, Derek, as far as racing goes?
Well, racing, we're staying with the 1200. I don't plan on ever really stopping. There might come a time where we might have to miss some local shows to pursue other interests, but I'm actively looking to get into a sprint car again and maybe do some Northwest racing, maybe down the California coast. We've had a few opportunities, a few people that have good intentions trying to put money up, and nothing's really came complete full circle yet. So I'm still waiting to put that deal together, and so obviously being in a sprint car is a direction I'd like to go in, but I'm never stopping mini sprint racing. It's to me, it's the funnest form of racing you can have. It's just, for us, we can only do it on Friday nights. We don't get to race on Saturdays. We don't get to race more than we have Clay Cup, and we have maybe one other 2 to 3 day show. And to be able to race Friday, Saturday, or throughout the week, or do some ASCS stuff, I'd really have a lot of interest in that.
Yeah. So the tracks up there in your guys' area, tell us a little bit about which tracks you guys run on and kind of how they are. Are they like more of a heavy track, or slick off a little bit in the late stages, or high banked, or?
It just depends on the time of year.
Yeah.
So early in the season, spring or late fall, you're certainly going to have the more hooked up tracks, and that's just with humidity, weather, less daylight. Deming is a 8 mile, you'd call it a bull ring, but it's got lots of racing room. I mean, most people come up here are a little bit shell shocked when they see it, because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of racing room out there. But once you get out there and you realize, guys are going to give you respect, and there's going to be, tight circumstances, and somebody's going to back out and give you the opportunity to not crash. It's one of the best facilities I've ever raced at. I mean, I don't think there is a better one, to be honest with you, whether it's just the facility itself or the track surface. I mean, Paul Lemley is an extraordinary track prepper promoter. I mean, he reads that track and he gets that thing dialed in every single week. We never have a bad facility. We never have a bad track. If it is, it's by no fault of his own. It's weather. It's, certain things come up. You put fresh clay on, you're going to have a rough track. It's just what it is. But that's Deming in a nutshell. I mean, midsummer, we'll be qualifying on a gut slit track, but come feature time, there's always 2 lanes to run on.
Right. Yeah, I know that track you're talking about, that little bull ring. You talking about Deming?
Yeah, that'd be Deming Speedway. That's the only facility we have up here to race with. We have Skagit Speedway, and we have Cottage Grove a little further down, and even Elma, but we don't race there for multiple reasons. Some of it is just track promoting. We don't necessarily get the invite. And then the other side of it is, those are some pretty large tracks. I mean, that'd be like, maybe comparable to, maybe even larger than Verona, or, certainly larger than maybe Placerville.
Right. Wow. Yeah, that Deming, man, that's a fast joint. We went up there, man, I'm almost afraid to say it, but it's like 2006. And, man, that place is fast. I mean, it's a pretty awesome facility. You're going down the road, and the trees open up, and there's a racetrack right there. There was a lumber mill right there, I think, close to it. And I mean, you go through the trees, and it opens up into a pretty neat little facility there.
Wow. So you're talking.
Yeah. No.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. You go ahead. I'll take a second.
Well, I was going to say, with Deming, it's kind of that. It's the racetrack I think everybody needs to visit. I mean, I think. I'm not really sure what prevents more people from coming up for Clay Cup. I think a lot of people have the preconceived notion that, hey, we run this place every single weekend. We got it dialed in. But, we've had plenty of guys come up here and run top 5 at Clay Cup and have, great showings. It's just a really high-speed, small track. And when you come off the larger tracks that you have down in California, it just, almost everything just speeds up. Everything seems faster. Everything seems, like it's going quicker. And it's not, but it seems like it is. And so I think that's why you see a lot of, really talented drivers come out of Deming is, it's a small track. So you're getting that tight racing. And then, they go out on the bigger tracks, and it's just kind of, oh, wow, I got so much more room out here.
Right. Yeah. So, Deming, you just spoke on that, too, that you guys kind of run on Fridays, and you can't race on Saturdays. Why is that? Tell me about that.
Mostly the respect Paul has for other promoters. Skyder runs on Saturday, we run on Friday, and it's reciprocated. They don't put shows on Friday when we're racing. So, you got two dirt tracks within, 30 minutes of each other, and those are the only two dirt tracks within 5 hours of anywhere around us. If you both run the same night, you're easily drawing all the same fans.
Yeah.
And so that's just kind of how it's always been. We run on Fridays, Skyder runs on Saturdays, and that's just how she goes.
Gotcha.
Good respect there.
Hey, so I know that you guys are mostly a wing club like we are with the California Lightning Sprints. Do you guys take them wings off occasionally and run up there, or do you guys pretty much leave them on all the time?
We've been known to. I think that every few years we'll put a few races together where there's a couple wingless shows. Personally, I love wingless. That's my go-to. I ran midgets for a year and a half with Power Eye and USAC, and I love it. And I wish we could do more of it. I think there's just more people that have the passion for the wings. They don't want to take the wings off. So and I'll run either. I don't really care. I'll run whatever is available. But every once in a while we take the wings off. But this year we won't. This year we're running all winged races.
Nice. Me personally, man, I like the wings. I think it increases the speed of the car, and it seems like if you take the wing off, if the cars just aren't as fast, and I like the wing stuff. I mean, it's we've run the midget. If we want to go do wingless stuff, we load that thing in the trailer and go, which we haven't done for a number of years, but I kind of like the Lightning Sprints with the wings. I think that's the one I prefer, so. Yeah.
So Derek, there's always that one race you'll always remember. What is that race for you?
For sure it's the Clay Cup Nationals. When we won that race for the first time, we had spent at least, I think it was our 6th year before we won it, and it was like heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak. We qualified on the front row of Clay Cup probably, I don't know, maybe 4 out of 5 times before that, and every single year something would go wrong. I would make a mistake, the car would break, we just, unfortunate circumstances always took us out of the race. And when we finally won that race, it's the childhood dream. You grow up at that facility, you watch that race happen every single year. And when we won that race, that just sticks in my memory so strong as to, how excited we were and, how nervous I was behind the wheel. I was only 16 when we won it. And, the whole time you're thinking like, oh, something's going to break, I'm going to get past, something's going to go wrong. It has every year till now. So, to actually lock that one down meant a whole lot.
That's awesome. Awesome. Great story.
So it looks to be a pretty competitive year up there for you guys, man. You've won, 2, and then Dakota Drake's won 1, Limley's won, Haddock's won, and looks like even Mother Nature's getting you guys now. She's got to win.
Yeah, I think Mother Nature's won more than anybody.
Yeah. Who's knocking on the door for a win up there that hasn't won yet?
That hasn't. Honestly, I'd be lying if I gave you a name, just because it's everybody. That's what it's like racing up here. When you unload, it's seriously, you have no idea who's going to win the race. There's probably 10 cars that have the better opportunity, and then there's probably another 5 more that, given the right circumstances, they're going to win. Yeah. And it's like that every single weekend. And so, there is no one particular person that's closer than the rest. Everybody's right there. The fact that, everybody doesn't win one race during the year is a little bit shocking, because generally during the year we'll have, 8 different winners, 9 different winners.
Right,
so
right.
It's extremely competitive.
Yeah, that's like I was telling you, the intro into you, man, every one of you guys up there are, equally as fast, Hespy and man, everybody, I mean, it's just a fast group of guys, it's fun racing with you guys. We're looking to catch up with you guys at Lemoore this year, so we'll see how we do this year.
Well, yeah, Lemoore is a great track, I think, because neither group really gets to ever go there. And it's not a small track, but it's certainly not a big track either. And the fact that we can kind of go there, it's like the equalizer. Like, I mean, when we were rolling there, I mean, there's 20, 30 cars that can win any single night. That's a very competitive little joint.
It sure is, man. And so we get to go run there one time. Man, I think it's like toward the end of September. The CLS has got a race in there, so we're going to try to dial that 41.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we're going to try to dial that 41 car in a little bit for you guys later on in the year when we all get together for the 3-dayer for sure.
Well, that sounds good. I really look forward to that race. That's a fun one.
Yeah, it sure is.
Nice. Hey, so Derek, we're kind of at the near the end here of this episode, and I was wondering, kind of, before we go, are there any sponsors or someone you'd like to thank?
Oh, there's plenty of people I'd love to thank. I don't think my career would have happened without numerous people. My mom and my dad are certainly number one on that list. They have started me out and supported me, even when, I was out racing my own equipment and, getting my ass whipped out in the Midwest. They were constantly supporting me, constantly giving me encouragement, constantly, helping out. Cal Hertzen and Tracy Hertzen are unbelievable people in my life. They have, Cal Hertzen I referenced earlier about, he went down to California and bought those junior sprints. He's been, instrumental in my career. George Dean with George Dean Race Engines, that to be able to go to the track and not have to ever think about that engine, it's going to run. That just makes my life so much easier. Triple X Chassis, they've been a major supporter of ours, from the very beginning. And, that's those are the main ones, but there's probably hundreds of people that have either given me a ride or given me an opportunity or just some encouragement. And all those people are to thank, because, there's multiple times down the road where, we thought like, hey, this could be our last year, or this could be our last season or last race even. And, people stepped up to help us. People have stepped up to, just show us support. And, I can sit here and list plenty of people, but, I could definitely just want to thank them all.
That is awesome. Yes, there's been a lot of people in our lives as a whole that have stepped up and spoke up and treated up when it wasn't necessarily wasn't owed to me, if you will, in my life. So definitely I can relate with them sponsors and the parents and all that you spoke of.
Yeah. Well, I know that your dad's very. I know that he's got to be right up there with you, because that's who I thought you were going to say with the influence was your dad, because I know your dad's always there. He's always with you. And, man, you guys dial that car in, week in and week out, every race, man. You guys are tough customers,
Yeah, I think he's even more than an influence, though. I mean, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even own my business, because, we had a fab shop in our backyard that I grew up working in, and, I was working on race cars way before I ever started racing. I mean, 9, 10 years old, 8 years old, even out in the shop, just cleaning parts, putting anti-seize on, Hymens to go into radius rods. I mean, I was doing anything and everything I could do. Welding before I even knew what welding was. And so, if it wasn't for him and, his passion, I don't know if I'd have anything that I have today.
That is awesome. That is the story, the life story that I want to pass on to my kids, if you will. I got two. I got a daughter and a son, 22 and 27, and I've tried to pass that on to them, over the years. Like, you have to be the helper in the shop. You can't just go from, you got to know why we clean the tools. You got to know why we clean the parts. You got to know, what those parts are for. So often today in society, these kids, they want to just get out there and watch the YouTube video and be
Be the boss.
be the boss. And I'm like, wait. The life experience says that you don't know what the heck you're doing. You gotta crawl, and then you can walk, and then you can run.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can fully relate to that. When I was younger, anytime, my mom would have to come out to the shop and, say like, hey, it's time to come in. You got to go to bed. And it's like 5 more minutes, just 5 more minutes. And that was just, as many times as I could say that I can get away with it, I would. And that's all I ever did is just spend time in the shop. And I don't even want to know how much I cost my dad in tooling. Just, hey, I can drill this hole real quick. This is no big deal. And you snap a, expensive drill bit off in a $2 part that you had no business building in the first place. So he never once got mad at me though. Yeah. I mean, I ran his mill into the chuck a couple times, and I mean, I don't even want to get into some of the stuff I broke in his shop learning.
Yeah,
that's some good stuff.
I kind of go through that same thing, but it's with my wife. 5 more minutes, we're almost done. We're almost done.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of go through that too today. But so you're our 6th driver on our podcast of the third episode. You're the 6th driver. Is what we're doing. We're just trying to
get up about 10 episodes, and we're gonna go live.
Yeah.
And then we'll be a weekly live show.
So we'll be.
Well, that sounds awesome.
We'll be doubling back. We'll get some of them other Washington teams on here for sure. We're gonna try to incorporate everybody. We're not doing 2 drivers from the same club every week. We've been spread out from all over. Yeah, we've been pretty much all over the U.S. so far. We've got some pretty exciting ones. I'm really looking forward to get to too. Is some of them Great Lakes lightning sprints where they run on the ice. I have got to go see.
Oh yeah.
That. I've got to go see that someday. So we've got him coming in or calling in next week. We're going to be speaking with them. So. Thank you so much for calling in and taking the time out of your day to visit with us. And we're just trying to shed a little light on who you drivers are behind the wheel of those lightning sprints. So, again, thanks a lot, Derek. And we'll be seeing you at the track for sure.
Yeah, thank you, Derek.
Hey, no problem. I like what you guys are doing. Keep it up.
Yes, will do. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.
All right, bye.
Yeah, that was great. I can relate with those tools things because I didn't grow up with any tools. You know what I mean? And we never had set up in the garage or anything like that. Dad wasn't around much. So, you know what I mean? So like as I got older, I got tired of stripping out bolts with crescent wrenches and, using vice grips to, because the bolt was stripped out.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I want to tell you a story about one time. One time we lived we used to live in Anaheim down in Orange County behind Disneyland. So me and my sisters during the summer, my mom would work and me and my sisters would go swimming in different hotel pools, around Disneyland and, until we get kicked out, but different pool every day, Anyways, one time, back in the old days, I had a Huffy bicycle. Huffy.
Oh, yeah.
The 2 things with Huffy is the pedals would break or the gooseneck was junk. And so your handlebars would always be, and the pedals would break off and then the pegs would just be sticking out. You know what I mean? And we didn't have a lot of money, nor someone to, help handle that stuff, if you will. So I'd ride with the pegs because I knew that, we didn't have the money to buy new pedals. And man, vice grips or whatever tools we had, or could arrange pliers, to try to tighten that gooseneck up so then bars wouldn't. And man, the bars and I went to pull a wheelie on that thing and the gooseneck broke because I'd hammered it and beat it all up. So the handlebars go flying in the air. The bike laid over, and I ended that pedal that was sticking out, just the peg. It impaled me between my leg and my butt cheek.
Oh boy.
neighbor had to come and pick me up off the bike, took me to the, my mom ended up taking me to the hospital there in Anaheim. And, yeah, man, tools are important. You know what I mean? They're important. The right tool for the right job.
Yeah.
And, Harbor Freight is a great company that will make some, they acquire a lot of, junk stuff from overseas that is affordable. And, don't try to sharpen that stuff. Just throw it away and start over again.
Yeah, I think the most understood tool is the hammer, because if you got a crescent wrench, it's a hammer. A screwdriver, turn it around, it's a hammer. Yes. Everything is a hammer but the hammer,
But the hammer. It was like when we started, when I was 18, started working on the rigs, it was just like home. I got it. You know what I mean? Hammer it, hit it harder. You ain't going to break this. And I'm like, oh. Really?
Yeah.
You mean hit it with as hard as I can? Yes, as hard as you can. Holy smokes. And until the time when they started breaking stuff, and then they're like, whoa.
Yeah, not quite that hard. Yeah, so, man, another good episode of Behind the Wheel. Man, we're knocking these things out. Next week, we've got a couple good guests lined up, and, man, I think it's rolling along pretty good. We've had a lot of support from not only the drivers that we've spoken to, the ones that we have in the schedule, the clubs. Man, I've had calls from all over, kind of wanting to know what we're doing. And so, there's been a lot of interest, and we'll just keep going as long as there's interest until there's not.
Yeah, I'm interested in meeting some new drivers.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Well, there we are. Number 3 is
in the books.
Through the flag. There it is. Yeah. All right. Have a good one.
You too.